your willingness to be judged and to be okay with it. But that's really what we need in the society, in the world in general. I'm thinking our individuality needs to shine. And a lot of people don't have that internal drive to be individuals because they're not raised to be that way. On the side, I am an artist. I like creating music and paintings. And a big part of my repertoire or my preparedness for creating comes down to consuming a bunch of creations. And that means that I'll go through and look at all different mediums of art, and I'll look through all different types of music from all different countries and genres. And what I come to see a lot after going through, hundreds of posts and different songs is there's so much of the same out there. And I can't help but wonder why that is. And the only conclusion that I can come up with is that most creative people don't realize that a big part of their job in creating an identity and a uniqueness for themselves is actually exploring what's already out there. If you think about it, you're only really going to be able to produce something different if you know what the playing field is, right? You need to put yourself out there and give yourself enough time every day as a creative person, whether it be creating content, whether it's creating music, creating opportunities, initiatives. You need to go and look all the time at what's coming out new and what's been there already. Otherwise, you're not going to know where you fit in and how you're going to add to the cumulative consciousness of human beings. I know a lot of musicians that I talk to tell me, oh, I've been listening to, the same kind of stuff from when I used to be younger. Or a lot of artists that end up making paintings that they think are unique, or different pieces that they think are unique. And really, yes, necessarily by the prospect of creating your own stuff and you being an individual, you will create something that is unique, slightly. But as a whole, it still doesn't move a whole genre along. And that's really what we need in this planet, in the creative space, is things that really expand and help inspire other creative people to create new things that people can benefit from, that new feelings that you can explore and try to learn from. The issue is, as per usual, time. Time is always the issue. So how do you carve out time for yourself in a given day, in a given week to go and explore? Well, the first thing is believing that that is something that you should prioritize, right? If you're someone that's going to be building a brand or putting out some new stuff or really creating in general, there's a therapeutic aspect of it. There's the flow state that you get in when you really enjoy something that you can lose yourself, that provides immense therapy for you. I understand. Do that. That should always be a core element of the creative process. Genuinely enjoying the creations, right? But know that you also have a job. As a creative, you are a leader of sorts. You are responsible for moving society along in terms of what they think and how they approach situations. So, being a leader, it is your responsibility to consistently accumulate more information. You can use all the different social medias to do this, but a lot of the time, the stuff that I get, the coolest stuff that I get, the newest stuff that I get, actually comes from people that are already creating. On Spotify, the medium that I use the most to discover, just because it's convenient currently, the curated artist playlists tend to be the best, in my opinion, because they are already looking, like I am, for new stuff, new vibes, new inspiration. And so they're necessarily going to put something on their playlist that actually is additive, right? That not only is additive, but potentially foundational in a whole genre of music or art. Difficult to do, I understand. But the more responsibility we put on ourselves when it comes to creating and when it comes to living our life, I think the more potential we have to change lives, and probably our own in the process. So that's my food for thought for the fact that when you look at so much music, a lot of the time you're going to come across stuff that is almost there. It's almost there. To my friends, I call it SpongeBob. SpongeBob is my metaphor for something in music that's a bit unique, a bit kind of cheeky, you know? And it really adds, it accentuates the flavor of a song. It accentuates the flavor of an album, the aesthetic of an artist, to have that kind of SpongeBob feeling to things. You know, it's your willingness to be judged and to be okay with it. But that's really what we need in this society, in the world in general. I'm thinking our individuality needs to shine. And a lot of people don't have that internal drive to be individuals because they're not raised to be that way, right? A lot of people are raised in households that say, put your head down and keep going, and you know, don't look around too much, don't make too much noise, don't make too much of a splash. And to that I say, okay, fine, that was your environment. But if you have access to a video like this, then I encourage you to try to heed my advice and live a life that brings out your individuality. It really shows the world what beautiful things that you've learned, the philosophies that you've incorporated that have allowed you to be such a cool person. Individual responsibility as artists and as civil members of society is lacking in our current day and age. And I think it's really dwarfing our ability to evolve and our emotional intelligence in general. Because if people are not willing to go out and explore their souls and explore the things that motivate them, then oftentimes they won't have the internal strength to provide opportunities to other people. Things that we need. More mentors, more funnels for getting into the things that we're interested in. I was thinking about, especially since starting this vlog and listening to all these motivational speakers and all of these really incredibly successful, bright, kind-hearted people, that there is tremendous opportunity available to all of us. It's just a matter of getting out there and looking for it. If you're not constantly looking for opportunity, you'll probably not run into very much. And getting into a defeatist mindset is actually counteracted, in my opinion, by going out and looking for these opportunities, aka new music, new paintings, new ways of thinking, philosophies, really educating yourself instead of kind of being on your own and believing that your life really is yours. Humans, I believe, have fallen into a strange trap of believing that the entire world is created for us. And the reality is, it's not. It really isn't. We're just one of billions, trillions of organisms. And we just happen to come together and make phenomenal changes on the landscape and the planet as a whole. But the reality is, we're still nature. We're still organic beings, right? We still have a responsibility, like the rest of nature, to help build the planet, or at least maintain it to a degree where it's habitable for other organisms, right? And if we don't believe that we have the individual ability to do that, then we don't believe our leaders have the ability to do that. We don't believe that the people we look up to necessarily have the ability to do that. We become nihilistic. And I think that really limits the potential of happiness and satisfaction in the human condition. So I say all this basically to tell you, if you can, when you can, go and look for new inspiration all the time, for things that you don't know anything about, things that you are barely aware of. Go and dig into it. On my other videos, I talk about how important it is that when you're bored of something, when you're bored of life, when you're feeling uninspired, get into things deeper. And you'll realize how much of a beautiful world is available in each of those little things. It's almost like digging into someone's individual philosophy when they've done a lot of work on themselves. You can learn a hell of a lot. Just by sitting with someone that's older than you, that's really cultivated their mind and listening. So I make these vlogs every day. My goal is to give myself and the people listening some things to think about when it comes to developing your emotional intelligence, my emotional intelligence. My goal is to hopefully help humanity stop destroying so much and start creating more, start helping more, working closer together. So check out the description. I got a bunch of links to my other social medias. Like, comment if you're interested in this type of thing, or if you have any questions. I'm always curious. And share it with people that might actually benefit from something like this, right? Someone that you believe is kind of in their hole. And at the very least, if this made you think, go and have a conversation with one of your close friends, your intellectuals, your parents, whatever, about these kinds of topics. But anyway, I hope you have a great day. Actualize your potential.